Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Pagani Design PD1708 Chronograph. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing this Pagani Design PD1738 homage to a Richard Mille. And Greg was wearing my Amazon Essentials watch. Grogu asked Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost when he started thinking about betraying Emperor Palpatine. He said it started when he began to detect mockery and condescension in Palpatine's voice. He said there was a time where he learned how to use the Force to travel through time, and when he demonstrated this to his master, Palpatine said, "Lordy, Lordy, Lord D, look who's 4D." All right, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this Pagani Design box. And of course, it comes with the world's nicest cleaning cloth. If somebody knows of a nicer one, let me know, because I still haven't seen a better one than these Pagani Design ones. And then we have the watch. Pagani Design is known mainly as a Chinese homage company. And when it comes to homages, you can't get much more homagey than Pagani Design. Most of their watches are dead ringers for the real thing, which caused some reviewers to avoid the brand. I obviously have no problem, as I have reviewed by far more Pagani Design watches than any other brand. So imagine my surprise when Pagani Design came up with an original design. This PD1708 is not an homage, although I am sure it is somewhat derivative. It's kind of hard to design a truly original watch, as there are only so many things you can do with a watch, and there have been so many watches made. So if you find something that looks a lot like this Pagani Design, it's okay. This is a 2-subdial chronograph powered by the VK64 Mecha Quartz movement. I am not a huge fan of the VK64 due to the fact that it does not have a running second hand and instead has a practically useless 24-hour subdial on the right. There are two different colorways, but both have black dials. You can get white or you can get Fotina, although they call it yellow. I chose the Fotina because it gives the watch more of a vintage look. The watch is 38.1 millimeters, which is kind of small, but keep in mind though, there's no tachymeter on the bezel, so the watch dial is fairly large for a chronograph. It's 45 millimeters lug to lug. It's 11.6 millimeters thick, has a 20 millimeter lug width, and weighs 103 grams on the supplied mesh strap. The bezel is smooth and brushed, except for this little edge here is polished. And once again, there's no tachymeter or anything, so it makes the dial a bit larger. Then the dial itself is black with no sunburst effect. It's a very deep, flat black. And then we have the indices, they're painted on, and then we have numerics with little cutouts where the subdials are. Then we have the Pagani Design name and logo painted up top. And then it just says chronograph on the bottom, no mention of water resistance, and you get 100 meters. Then on the very bottom it says Japan movement, because this is a VK64, which is a Seiko design, but made by TMI, which is owned by Seiko. Then we have the hands, they're loomed, and they're a little bit different color than the rest of the watch. It would have been nice if they would have matched the yellow to this more tan color. And there's no running second hand, and of course this is the chronograph second hand because this is a VK64. And there's no date, even though the movement has a date, so that means there's a ghost date. The right subdial is a 24-hour indicator, which is my biggest complaint of the VK64. I wish it was a running second hand instead. Be a lot more useful. Then the left is the minute counter of the chronograph. Then we have a sign screw down crown. And then the pushers are not screw down because you only get 100 meters water resistance. More than likely, don't take this in the pool. There's other watches you can wear. And this being a VK64, the top pusher starts to chronograph and it ticks 5 times a second. Top pusher stops it. Bottom pusher resets it, and it's an instant snapback since it's a Mecha Quartz, which is one nice thing about the Mecha Quartz movement. Also, it's a lot nicer that it ticks 5 times a second rather than needing a sub-second dial. Then we have a dome sapphire crystal, sticks up just a little bit above the bezel, and it's not a major dome, but there's a little bit of dome. And I don't know if there's any AR coating or not, but I think so, because you can kind of see a little blue tint. And you can see through it pretty good. There's not a ton of reflection. And then the case. I really like the case. The case is fully brushed, and it's just as big as it needs to be and no bigger. And then these lugs look like they're kind of like attached to it. You know, I'm sure it's all one piece, but it's just a nice look to it. So I really like the case. It's not any taller than it needs to be and not any wider than it needs to be. Then we have a screw down case back. Has the Pagani Design name and logo. Then it says Sport, and then it says PD1708. And then it says water resistant 100 meters and stainless steel, because this is indeed stainless steel. Then of course underneath the case back is the VK64 movement. We already went over the way it works. This is the go-to Mecha Quartz movement for watches in this price range with 2 sub-dials. Like I said, I wish Seiko would come up with something that has a running second hand instead. I would pay extra money for that. Then we have this mesh bracelet. It's a nice mesh bracelet. It's plenty thick. It doesn't feel cheap. And the nice thing about the mesh bracelet is you can get the perfect fit, because this clasp, you have little slots here and they're really close together. So you can really move it to get the perfect fit. And it looks like I have another inch of a clasp, so you could wear this if you have an 8.5, no problem. And it's also nice too because it has quick release. So if you want to put it on a leather strap or some other strap, that's nice, easy to do. Always love quick release. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. I think it looks nice. Once again, it's a little small, but since the dial's so big, it doesn't appear as small as it is. And it sits nice and flat on the wrist, very flat. So, and it's light. So yeah, I really like the comfort of the watch. Here's the watch on a black leather racing strap. I think that looks nice too. I think this watch will go with a lot of straps. And here it is on a leather strap. I really like that. Ignore the fact that the hardware doesn't match. I couldn't find my other leather strap. But yeah, if the buckle matched, I think that would look really nice. Here we are in the Lume room. One does not associate Pagani Design with good Lume, but sometimes they surprise you. As we speed up the time, we see the Lume fades faster than my hopes and dreams of being sent free watches to review. I don't know if the white would do better since I don't have a white to test, but if Lume is important, you might want to try to give the white a try. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the fact that it's an original Pagani design. I like the retro look. I think it looks really nice, especially with this Fotina. And I really like this brush case. I think they really nailed it. Just a perfect shape. What are my gripes and groans? No date. I think they could have added a 6 o'clock date without ruining the dial. The lousy Lume. It's lousy even for a Pagani Design. And this is a complaint of the VK64, but that is the movement they chose. No running second hand. Do I recommend this watch? Yes, this watch looks and wears great. It has a nice retro look and is a welcome addition to the Pagani Design lineup. And it's nice to see them do something original for a change. So just remember, people, if you don't buy this one and it's a dud, then Pagani Design will decide, well, I guess we'll just do homages from now on. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Pagani Design PD1708, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.